In the middle of an exam, I heard one of my students whisper, "Don't panic, look in my backpack." I immediately looked up, but strangely, no one else in the class seemed to rest on their exams. He was just staring at the boy next to him holding his backpack, and I immediately thought they were cheating. I was about to get up and take both of their exams. But just before I did, I remembered exactly who this boy was dealing with. He had been in my class for harassing girls, who usually ended up slapping him. One of them was my daughter. I was lucky enough to have her as a teacher that year. She was sitting right behind him, but she rejected him a phase ago when he tried to use a pickup line. I immediately something bad, and not even 10 seconds later, I saw him pull out something metal and black. When I looked a little closer, I saw something. And I seemed to be only one, not surprised that I wasn't invited by dead, and which looked a lot like a gun. Immediately, I looked to bad, received dross. My dad's trying to convince stuff I was just hallucinating, or should have tenure, because I could have less hours. Madel, who looks up to the hang I was smelling one. That was so like I said, why, since he was something was so I shouldn't. I saw what you have me and start studying about moving just out where I don't think I know what I have over how was the man was just outside one of the work, but living town like so easily she go wrong. I had to keep my students safe, so I did the only thing I could think of, and I texted the assistant principal telling him everything I had just seen. Now that boy was looking at my daughter and they were both smiling. Oh my god, I was planning to use it against her. I was hoping the assistant principal would reply, but minutes passed. Nothing. I knew I had to do something. I could start shooting at any moment. But then, the same girl from the front row stood up to hand my desk. But before she could leave, I took her hand. She could see the panic in my eyes, but before she could ask what was wrong, I handed her a sticky note. It said, "Ask me for permission to go to the bathroom, go to the assistant principal, tell her to check her phone, then leave the school immediately. Don't come back." I handed it to her, read it. I handed to keep a calm expression, but she could see that something was terribly wrong. Her eyes widened, but she didn't say anything. Nothing. She asked permission to go to the bathroom and left the classroom. I watched her leave and felt a small relief knowing she was no longer there. But there were still 22 other children sitting in that classroom with an armed student, and I had no idea help was actually coming. Then someone knocked on our door. Everyone turned around immediately, and I could see the children sitting there nervously. The assistant principal came in and started talking to the students as if nothing was happening. Then he stood in front of that boy to the hallway with me. "Bring your backpack." But I saw that he started to panic. "Why am I taking a test?" His hand moved toward his backpack, and I stopped breathing, but she quickly said, "Oh, don't worry, your mom is here to pick you up earlier." I saw it in his eyes, but he had no choice. He stood up with his hand on his backpack, and I felt my heart race as he walked past my daughter. He walked slowly toward the classroom door, but just before leaving, he stopped. Then we all saw that in one motion, he took his backpack off his shoulder, started unzipping it, and everyone in the room froze. He pulled out his gun and turned, pointing it directly at my daughter. No, don't do it. He was about to shoot my daughter, and I tried to throw myself in front of her to block the streaming, and I saw P running inside from the hallway. I watched in slow motion as this guy pulled the trigger. I was ready to take a bullet right through the screen, but after I hit the floor, strangely, I didn't feel anything. The gun didn't fire, and we saw the SWAT team slamming him against the tiles. Turns out the IT didn't take the safety off, and the SWAT team had been waiting outside the whole time.